Hello, this is week 10 of the 13-week fiscal program for American Prisoners of War. My name is Chief Biko. Today we have Chief Akibalon, Chief Alligator, Chief Quietwater, as well as Chief Blackcoat. And here we focus more so on the first letter in the acronym APOW, which is American. I will start off today by reading the 12 steps. Step 1, learn about the estate or estates your family originated from. Step 2, who established that estate. Step 3, what tribe and confederacy had jurisdiction over that area prior to the European? Step 4, ask all nonprofit organizations you attend, what's your position on reparations? Step 5, they either support it or they do not. No support equals no money. However, if they support it, then children and adults need weekly classes free of charge about steps 1, 2, and 3. In addition, field trips to APOW landmarks in that city, county, and state are needed. Step 6, don't support European holidays for the remainder of the 13-week time frame. Step 7, avoid spending money with any small business that doesn't hire your people, gas stations, nail salons, subways, corner stores, etc. Step 8, all businesses need operating cash, spend money with American businesses. Step 9, all other groups rely on our energy and operating cash to survive. Set the trends of making other groups follow our lead and support our clubs, services, products, and entertainment. Step 10, the US government is bankrupt. The Federal Reserve prints money, i.e. quantitative easing. It also burns money, i.e. quantitative tightening. The US dollar hasn't been backed by gold since Richard Nixon in 1971, the Gold Standard Act. The government operates off the full faith of its citizens to pay debt and taxes. American prisoners of war no longer have faith in the US government. This is why financial support will be altered, stopped, and redirected. Step 11, teach your children 1 hour a day about their history on this land. Have them learn about an American inventor. Have them know about our heroes. They should know the European that conquered the estate you live in. And lastly, they should know the nation of people prior to the European invasion militarily and culturally. Step 12, practicing these steps will educate us on the land we're claiming America and attaches us to the history and laws of the US government. Every estate American prisoners of war live in should have steps 1, 2, and 3 advertised via social media, radio, and newspaper. This in 13 weeks, one fiscal quarter will bring us together for our common cause. Next, we will have Chief Alligator present the inventor for this week.
Okay, this week's inventor is going to be George Washington Murray. This is the gentleman on the image. He invented the cotton chopper, federal patent number 520888, June 5th, 1894. He was born September 22nd, 1853. He died April 21st, 1926. Mr. Murray was born under military occupation in South Carolina, which our people like to call slavery. He was elected in the 1890s as a United States Congressman. He was the only American congressman in the 53rd and 54th United States Congress. The state of South Carolina amended their constitution in 1895 and disenfranchised the American, AKA Blacks. He was the last American elected in South Carolina until 1980. Murray was convicted in 1905 of forgery. With an all-European jury, he was sentenced to 3 years hard labor. He divorced his wife and moved to Chicago. He never served the 3 years hard labor. 1915, he was pardoned by South Carolina Governor Coleman Blease. So that's the inventor for this week. Again, we do not own a percentage of the income generated from the cotton chopper. I was told by my mother when I learned how to start shopping for my own clothes, always buy material. So when you look at your shirts, all my shirts are always 100% cotton, right? A lot of this designer stuff today, it'll be 65% cotton, 35% polyester. When you have something that's not 100% cotton, it'll shrink, right? If you put it in the dryer, it'll shrink. So little things like that, this ties me back to this man right here. He invented the machine in order to help produce cotton, which in turn produces your suits and your shirts and things like that. Another thing stood out to me was he was born under military occupation, so no way in hell after becoming a public servant, i.e. a U.S. congressman, was he going to let an all-European jury in the state that he was serving turn around and give him a bogus charge of forgery and put him back under military work camp. So he basically hauled ass to Chicago. He had to divorce his wife at the time. She wasn't willing to relocate, but then later he was pardoned or found that those charges were bogus by a governor in 1915. Lastly, what I would say about him is we hear a lot about a guy named Jim Clyburn, who's an active member in the Congressional Black Caucus. Jim Clyburn is the next person to be elected into Congress since this man. He was the first.
And that was in 1980?
Yes. Yep. So Jim Clyburn has been in office since 1980.
Wow.
100 years. So I thought he was a good one. He has more inventions. I'll do, or somebody else can do one a week, but he has about 4 inventions. That's this week's American Inventor. Anybody want to say anything on his story? He's got a very good story.
Oh, he looks like a very good gentleman, honestly. Like just whatever he was doing back then, he looked like he knew what he was doing. My man said, "We're going to Chicago."
It definitely
kind of thing that Chief Alligator said, that's something that I look at too. And that's why a lot of the newer fast fashion brands they can put out so much stuff because they keep having, like, if you have a shirt that continuously shrinks, you have to continuously buy a new shirt. So being that he made that, is interesting to know that because it has to do with the industry of fashion and clothing and textile.
Correct. One thing that stood out to me was the kind of what Chief Blackcoat alluded to last week in regards to, them pretty much putting any type of bogus charge on our inventors and making them come up underneath their work camps, i.e. prisons, and have them create the industry underneath that system. And we can kind of see how they was trying to do that with him with the forgery charge. So I definitely liked how that tied into what Chief Blackcoat was alluding to last week.
Yeah, and the fact that he was involved in the Congress and things like that. So it just shows you that he was definitely distinguished and had some things going on with himself. So
another point too, it doesn't matter what status you have, you can't escape their system. So it's like, yeah, he's educated. It doesn't matter if you're an educated brother or if you just a motherfucker hustling. All they see is American, or otherwise what they like to say, black man, let's rope him off. Let's get him.
Right.
Let me ask one question to Chief Blackcoat. When you mentioned that last week that the military would kidnap inventors, can you be a little bit more detailed what you were meaning by that? How they'll take your brightest and kind of
Chief Biko just kind of said it. He just hit on a nail. Yeah. They're seeing the genes come out of this land. I mean, we got all the world inventions and everybody reaps the benefits of it except for us. These Europeans were just, again, kidnapping Americans, putting them on military work camps, and G. Biko just said, building their industry that way, to the bones in their body fall off, whatever it was. But that's exactly what I was saying. A room full of geniuses, and then they come over and just start putting you in cages, having you in cages, build up industries and doing whatever, however it went down.
Next, we'll have Chief Quietwater read the quote for this week. Dr. Wilson quote.
So the Dr. Carter G. Woodson quote this week, I'm going to do number 3. It was well understood that if by teaching of history, the European man could be further assured of his superiority, and the Negro could be made to feel that he had always been a failure, and that the subjection of his will to some other race is necessary, the freedman then would still be a slave. If you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. When you determine what a man shall think, you don't have to concern yourself about what he will do. And that's what I think that we just need to do, is get out these cages in our mind. And, as we read the inventors every week, these were people who were free thinkers and people who were inventors, and they weren't in a cage, and didn't allow people to stunt their abilities and God-given talents to create things.
That's important.
And that's why I love the show.
The fact that you can.
Your phone is going out.
Now I stopped because Black Belt was talking. But when you control somebody's thoughts, it's just perception control. And if you can make people feel like they're free, if you can give them things that look like what they think freedom is, you can control what they do. They're not going to fight because they already feel free, when in reality there's no freedom. There's no freedom of action and what you can and can't do. But there's a perception that it is, because you can get these loans, you can live in this place, you can buy these things, and you can have this amount of money. But it doesn't matter if there's no real freedom, or if you're not making real decisions.
That's a good point.
Very good point, Chief Akibalon. Very good point. I think you also have the maroon historical points and legal definitions there, Chief Quietwater.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so I'll start off with the legal definitions. Number 1, American, a native of America. Number 2, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. Number 3, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the other, life, fortune, and the liberty of another. Number 4, prisoner of war, a person, usually a soldier, who is captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. Number 5, school, an institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. Number 6, education and enlightening service. And then the maroon historical points. Number 1 was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. Number 2, providing unity and a strong defense came first. Number 3, maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. Number 4, maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks in thick grass. And number 5, maroons knew their European enemies' language, defense, and plans.
Thank you, Chief Quietwater. Last but not least, we'll go ahead and jump into the Constitution. Let me share my screen here. Start off here, Article 1, Section 10. Again, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. So as we always read each week, the only thing that would be considered constitutionally as payment for debts would be gold and silver. Gold and silver. And also one thing I want to highlight as well is that no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation. So this just further proves that the rebellious states that seceded from the Union could make anything but a confederation. So they can never be the Confederacy. That's something that they had agreed upon prior to seceding. Next, jump into Article 6. Here, the Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. So again, the treaties are the supreme law of the land, and that is key in regards to understanding this government system. And lastly, I want to highlight who has the power over the militia. And that is here, section 2, I think article 2, section 2. The president shall be the commander in chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of several states. So again, not only does the president have command over the Army and Navy, but also the militia. So in regards to them being able to be called upon at any given moment, that is the power held by the president, AKA the commander in chief.
Can you put a pin in that page so we can come back to it? Because the document we're going to read today is going to rhyme right with section 2, being that the president, when he's operating in private, which is commander in chief, he's over the Army, because we're about to read a letter from a general out of the Army.
Definitely. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. I'm going to continue to break down that special field order number 15. I know we got into it a little bit last week, but definitely want to dive in a little bit deeper and just highlight a lot of key points that we'll be displaying today. Go ahead and share my screen. All right, and let me know if you all can see this.
We can see it.
Good. Okay.
I can see it.
Oh shoot.
I'm gonna just state real quick. We did make one error, and as far as being concise with the documents in the timeline, this document was supposed to be read before we read the 1866 Civil Rights Act and before we read the 1866 Freedmen's Bureau Act, because as we can see, the date says 1865. So we want to plug this in because we're looking for our entry point as a group of people, as the American coming from confederacies, and tribes make up confederacies. We're trying to see at what point do we become citizens of this government. We've read the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Nothing specifically states that our group was made citizens. We've read the 1866 Civil Rights Act and the 1866 Freedmen's Bureau Act. We have yet to see where this government specifically says we're citizens, which ties right into the March 1st, 2022 State of the Union address. You were ignored by the president in that address. So all of this rhymes. We don't have to try to convince you and tie your hand. Why are you always ignored? But you always want to mentally believe that you're a part of something, but on the world stage, you're ignored. So I'm gonna start off for you, bro. We're gonna get into this thing. This is the document.
Perception control. I said that's perception control.
Correct. This is the document that you've heard Minister Farrakhan talk about, Martin Luther King, and other people when they talk about 40 acres and a mule. So we've heard a little bit of that language in the 1866 Civil Rights Act. This document is where 40 acres and a mule come from. All right, so that's why this document is important. And we're still trying to see, does this apply to us? And is this valid to stand on? So first, let's look at the title of it. It's Headquarters, Military Division of the Mississippi. So this is coming from up under the War Department. According to their constitution, Congress makes laws, not the military. So let's be clear on that first. This is not a lawful document. This is a letter titled Special Field Order number 15. How did we as a group of people think that this letter coming from a general under the military division of the Mississippi is going to actually be something that we can stand on and say, where's my 40 acres on a mule? So let me get into section 1. It says the islands from Charleston south, the abandoned rice fields along the rivers for 30 miles back from the sea, and the country bordering the St. Johns River, Florida, are reserved and set apart for the settlement of the Negroes now made free by the acts of war and the proclamation of the President of the United States. All right, can you pull up a map of St. John's River so we can get a clear idea? What is this general talking about? This Army general? What area is he referring to? Boom. So St. John's River goes from the Atlantic Ocean, if you can move your cursor by the Atlantic Ocean, east of Jacksonville. All right. So that's the port. So all ships would come in from the Atlantic Ocean into Jacksonville, and then you see St. John's River goes all the way down from what we now know as Jacksonville, all the way down to north of Orlando. So this general in this letter to the commander-in-chief is saying that Negroes are going to be settling 30 miles going back toward the coast. Didn't we read some treaties to start this whole thing off, proving that we were already there? You can't give us something that we're already occupying and running and controlling. So correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like this general is conceding to his commander-in-chief, we can't occupy these people. They're doing business from Jacksonville all the way down to North Orlando. I'm just gonna give it to them. What's y'all thoughts on that one point based out of that letter for right now? I just wanted to give y'all a visual of what he's saying that we were in control of.
Right, like you said, we did read that in the prior treaties that we were already, that was our land. We were there already. So, yeah, how can they do that?
Working in commerce too. Seem like they don't want to mess up the operation. Whatever they got going, they want to just be a part of it. We don't want to ruin this one, or they didn't want to ruin that operation with those ports coming in.
Right.
Thanks, I'm Chief Keelan.
No, I was just agreeing with everyone.
No, again, yeah, we've already read the document in which they said that certain lands have already carved out. So it kind of just is contradictory to that document. Again, we've already, he's admitting that we have already established settlement and we'll later read vocations in these areas. What he said to the bordering this whole river. So that's again to the coast, as well as anything on this left-hand side of the river. And in that document or that treaty that we know now to be not valid, it was saying basically giving us basically around here, somewhere in this area, in the middle of what would be basically like Central Florida. But it was basically saying that we had nothing regarding these coastal sides. So that's, again, a lie is in regards to that treaty, because again, we've already seen that this General Sherman is saying that, yeah, they're currently staying, or the current settled places, we're going to allow them to keep that. We can't infiltrate.
All right, if we can go back to the document.
And that's what I think it was, Chief Biko, could infiltrate. Yeah, whoever, this going on right here over in Jacksonville, we gotta let this one go.
So let's go back up to section 1 real quick and let's pull out a couple of other things. So we see the area that we were already in. He uses the words reserved and set apart for the settlement of Negroes. We've read the treaties prior to this point, so we know that we were already there. Now we have to re-engineer in our minds, you were free, people. And help me out on this, Chief Blackcoat. A general would have to be fighting our army, correct? If a general of if the general of the United States government's military is saying we can't go any further, that's not because you got quote unquote slaves throwing pitchforks and rocks at them. That means that there's an organized defense against that army, correct?
100%. 100%.
So this is
with a special field order.
Okay, and special field order, what why is it special? Like when a general has to do a special field order, what does that mean in that world of Army?
An announcement. What's say we went into this war, we went into this battlefield. Now this is a new special field order. This is now what's going on. This is what's current, and then you send that to whoever. This is pretty much a brief description of what's going on right now, or his special field order to the masses of what's going on or what he wants to go on. This is now coming in, or this is next, the next goal, the next mission, however you want to look at it.
So we have to understand as Americans that our ancestors, our great grandparents, because that's what we are now. We're talking about what our great grandmother and great grandfathers were doing. They were organized and they had a military and they were going up against the United States government's military. And we were operating and running Charleston, South Carolina. And we were operating from Florida all the way down that Johns River. Everybody was not on a military work camp. There's more people on military work camps now than it was back then. The other thing that jumps out to me is settlement of the Negroes. That's the first document that we've ever seen the word Negro. We haven't seen that in the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. We haven't seen that word in the 1866 Civil Rights Act or the 1866 Freedmen Bureau Act. So the military is a part of ground operations. Management is going to be Congress, the president, and the judicial branch. They're benign and neglecting us with the pen, but the general on the ground with boots on the ground, he's saying what it is. Nah, these niggas running shit down here, and we got to leave them alone. Y'all want to chime in on that part? How this is the first document we've seen Negro, but it's not a lawful document. It's just a letter coming from a general.
Yeah, I think they recognized what was going on. Like we were active down there, and I think that they realized that it wasn't what they were thinking that it was, and they needed a special field order to clarify that, basically.
Yeah.
So just what was going on. Again, this is military orders, so they're moving forward. Now they got information. This is what's going on. Yeah, it was actually kind of amazing to see Sherman write in that Negro. So how the language has changed, what made him call that group down there Negroes. This is 1865. That's interesting.
You want it?
I want to know how we got the Negro.
Mm-hmm.
Great question.
This is
can you pull up the map, Chief Biko? Can you pull up the small map that's behind me?
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that.
Great.
Just kind of piggyback off of what Chief Blackcoat is saying is basically the beginning of reclassification.
Correct. Correct.
Let me pull that map up real quick.
No problem.
All right.
Boom. So what we now know, we started, those of us that have walked through these treaties with us, we know that the Seminole War started in 1817. We read 3 treaties pertaining to 2 of the wars. The 3rd Seminole War never ended. So to answer Chief Biko's question, why the word Negro, everybody that didn't go into Oklahoma during those first 2 Seminole Wars, we were considered stubborn. That's our ancestors. We didn't go into Oklahoma. You see what I'm saying? So now we're going to pay a price for standing our ground. Your great grandfather and great grandmother, everybody on this channel, this is the price we pay for not going in the treaty with the European rogue military. We're going to be declassified right during this time when they're talking about civil war. We already debunked that. There was no civil war. What war was going on is the Seminole War. But they put that story in a shallow grave and never schooled us on that coming through their military indoctrination camps called school system.
Right.
I throw that in to help you, Chief Blackcoat. How do we get Negro? They're moving off the American platform. Why? Because you didn't go into Oklahoma.
Right, and I always got to take myself back into these times because, again, Third Seminole never ended. Seminole War never ended. So we got to always stay in the mindset of we're at war right now. Yeah, these Negroes over here, you know, kept the Americans that were pushed left of the Mississippi, cool, whatever they got to keep. But now we're not, y'all, these some Negroes. Sounds like a hard-headed, tough type of mentality or word that you would put on somebody. Like this, these Negroes, just like a, you know, that word, the way it comes out, sounds like a hard-headed, something you're battling with, somebody you just can't get to move too much. So yeah, Negroes, that was their new term on the ones that didn't want to move. Yeah, you're not stopping none of this. Okay.
They couldn't call them Americans because, again, supposedly they had moved all of the Americans west of the Mississippi. So in order to embody that or become the American, they couldn't call the Americans east of the Mississippi Americans because they're trying to be the Americans. So let's create another term that we can make these people, okay, let's call them Negroes. We can't attach them to their nation. We can't call them Seminoles. We can't call them Cherokee. We can't call them Choctaw. We got to call them something else. We got to make up a imaginary person and attach them to that.
Yeah.
So
come from nothing, now I'm something or somebody.
Exactly. Like it just pooped up out of nowhere. I thought, hold on, who are these people? Because they can't be the slave, because again, they not throwing rocks and pitchforks. So, and it's just using, you know,
whole battlefields.
Correct.
What's going on here?
It's just interesting to see how much they use the use of the pen to indoctrinate us and change the way that our perception is. Like
it's powerful.
It's like more powerful than just being on the battlefield, because the half of us a lot of us went over west of the Mississippi, and the ones that stayed, they become the ones that are less populous there. So it's easy for the Europeans to be like, all right, we got enough numbers here. We can basically X them out if we call them something else, say that all the other Americans are gone and we're the new Americans.
Again, the mentality to automatically come over, and with the mentality that we're going to be whatever group is already on this land, we're going to be that new group. It was that the initial plan.
Correct.
During the invasion.
Before we jump back into that, just to highlight and show proof of claim, because, you know, we like to show documents. We're not just making up stuff. So again, we know that majority of our people was still east of the Mississippi because we read it in the Treaty of Fort Gibson, also known as the Treaty with the Creeks. So we look here, Article 4. Hold on, let me scroll up. The whole Creek Nation and the Seminole Nation interested. So it is hereby mutually understood and agreed between the parties of this treaty, and that the land assigned to the Muskogee Americans by the second article thereof shall be taken and considered the property of the whole Muskogee or Creek Nation, as well as those now residing upon the land as the great body of said nation, who still remain on the east side of the Mississippi. So they're acknowledging within this treaty that majority of the Muskogee Creek Nation is still east of the Mississippi, and majority of them are in Florida. So, and it's also understood and agreed that Seminole Americans of Florida, whose removal of this country is provided for by their treaty, or by this treaty with the U.S. So again, they're just acknowledging that we weren't able to get everybody west of this Mississippi into this new territory. We know damn near all of y'all, majority, are still east of the Mississippi in that area known as Florida today. So again, it just rhymes with who General Sherman is referring to when he's saying Negro. He's talking about us people, the nation that was already there.
And if it's a little too, if anybody's being lost in this, you got Ukraine and Russia going on right now. That is a real life litmus test of what happened during the Seminole Wars. When war pops off, some people are going to run. And so they're showing you on the news that Ukrainian people are trying to get the hell out of Ukraine. You feel me? Same thing happened on the Trail of Tears. Same thing happened in the Seminole Wars. Some people were getting the hell on. But per their leader, and just throwing this in before we get back into this letter, I love that the Ukrainian people are going through what they're going through with Russia, because it shows quote unquote black people how far off the human platform we are. They're standing and they're fighting while we march and pray. And so I think it's a perfect litmus test for us to see what's our problem as a group of people. At some point, the idea of standing up and fighting cannot be taken off the table. And the leader of Ukraine not only armed his citizens, but he told all men 18 to 60, you ain't going nowhere. But when you watch the news and you see people hauling ass to Poland, hauling ass to all these different countries, that's war. Everybody's not going to stay and fight. A lot of people going to haul ass. That's the same thing happened during the Seminole War. Some people were hauling ass to Chicago, hauling ass to New York. If your ancestors still stayed in the South, salute your people. They didn't run. They stayed 10 toes down.
Fight or flight. It's a natural instinct. It's natural law, and that's the law that we're referring to as natural law. You either gonna fight or you gonna flight. We see it in nature all the time. And what he's alluding to is right now, people are flighting. We run. Matter of fact, we ain't even running. We're not even
connected.
We're not even connected. Yeah, we're just oblivious. You know what I'm saying? We're not even trying to acknowledge the fact of what the fuck is going on. So you're absolutely right there, Chief Akibalan. Go ahead there, Chief Alligator.
Yeah, great point, Chief Akibalan, for you to see that, that we're that broken. So I'm gonna start back off on section 2. So now this general is talking about other areas that we were owning, controlling, and occupying with military force. Section 2, at Beaufort, Hilton Head, Savannah, Fernandina, St. Augustine, and Jacksonville, the blacks. Here's the first time we've seen that word in a document. It was Negro in the first section, now it's blacks. The blacks may remain in their chosen or accustomed vocations. So here it is again, people. This is more area that this general is admitting. Can't breach it. South Carolina, Hilton Head, Savannah, y'all want to say something on that?
Vocations mean like jobs or professions, right?
Correct.
So basically they're saying they knew that they were doing
business.
They had the industries already. And so they're saying that they could remain in their chosen or accustomed vocations because they needed them.
Let's keep it even more simple. We had towns, them same towns that they talk about we were massacred in. This general's admitting, yeah, we got our own.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. And it's showing, and it's just showing that we weren't just some ignorant people done by the wayside. Again, we had businesses. We obviously had a army or a military force because we're whooping this General Sherman's army and platoon ass, because he wouldn't have written this if we hadn't. Why would he say, oh yeah, y'all could stay there if he was actually attacking or if he was winning? Rather.
New special field order.
Exactly. So it's showing that no, we had our shit together. We were running shit, and that we all weren't roped off and moved west of the Mississippi. We still had business booming.
Everyday life. I mean, right now we're just being interrupted by a military, a rogue military. And that, of course, now we're at 1865, but yeah, we're doing business. He's saying it like whatever was going on, we can't infiltrate it. And it kind of sounds like with the language, I don't want to infiltrate it. They're doing too good. So I don't know, maybe however this is or whatever he's seeing, this is interesting. And the language, blacks, Negro, you're seeing that's just what they calling him. He Negro black. This is just now the names we're throwing out there now.
That was my whole thing. Seeing reclassification through special field orders or other type of documents is just wild to see, because it just shows you how many times it's been done. It's transitioned so many times, so many different words, and it just shows you that they are like erasing your history slowly, but doing it intentionally and not too much to the point where it's like, hold on now, wait, what are you doing? It's just very slowly and incremental. But it's also just crazy to know that they don't teach you any of this in school, like at all. Nothing even remotely close to the actual history. Everything is like slavery or coming from Africa and things like that. And you get the few people like, of course, the known people, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, but it's not like a real in-depth lesson on your history for real.
That's correct. That's correct. And kind of just to piggyback off of what you just brought up there, Chief Akibalan, is if we were all from Africa, then why the reclassification? Why the reclassification every few decades, every 20 years? Why the reclassification? Why not just say the Africans? Because they know they can't do that. They wouldn't be.
It's nothing specific.
Exactly. You have to keep saying there's something else because, again, if we were all brought over here from Africa, then we just be Africans, right?
It goes even a little bit deeper than that. If we really were from an African country, don't you think that in this American history, there would be a war with an African nation? Come on. If you're citizens of an African nation, don't you think there would be something, some spokesperson from an African nation would be speaking on our behalf about how they fucked us over? You never hear that. So that proves you're not from that landmass.
And you see, every time we read a American Inventor, who would want to lose a George Washington? What's the brother's name? George Washington Murray. Why would Africa want to lose that? Why would they want to lose
ASAP?
Exactly. Somebody who's creating industries. No. We need that back.
Yeah.
So again, that just further proves like we're not from there, guys.
Hey, Chief Akibalan, you remember Frankendoodle, the SpongeBob episode?
I was about to say, I've never heard of nobody, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, watch that one again. I mean, you pretty much saying everything that we're reading, and then SpongeBob had an episode pretty much, notating at it. You can write anything and make it come to life. And it's a deep episode, but I just wanted to throw that out
once
there.
enough people believe in it, that becomes reality.
It's reality. That was an imaginary person he drew up in his head, and it came real. And then he wanted to become SpongeBob. Oh shit, they was talking about themselves.
You're right. No, y'all right on that one. Y'all right on that one. I'll go ahead and pass it back to you, Chief Alligator. That you
here's where it gets tricky. So we want to make sure here's where he tried to get tricky with his pen. So he's already admitted the areas that we're in and we can continue to do business as usual. Then he says, but on the islands and in the settlements hereafter to be established, no white person whatever, unless military officers and soldiers detailed for duty. So here again, he's proven military occupation. He's saying the only people that can be around this group, you got to be strapped up and trained on how to protect yourself.
All right, only the military can occupy this area. Okay.
You want to build on that, Chief Blackcoat? Why he says no peasants coming off a boat can go in that zone?
Well, now we're just going to infiltrate and we're going to just bleed it out slowly. If only military personnel can now stay in this area, we can just fast forward to today. We're worried. You can't see it anymore. Why? Because we started planting little pieces, agents. We read these through the treaties in these towns, infiltrated, destroyed from within. Again, this is all military operations, so they're thinking on large scales. So it's pretty interesting to see. Yeah, no white person, whatever, unless military officers and soldiers detailed for duty. It's right there in plain sight. Yeah, if you ain't ready to die for this, you go over there.
Okay. So will be permitted to reside, like Chief Blackcoat just said. If you ain't military, you can't reside there. And the sole and exclusive management of affairs will be left to the freed people themselves. Here's where he's going to contradict himself. They were already managing themselves. So basically he's saying, y'all just keep managing yourself, but watch the next sentence. Subject only to the United States military authority and the acts of Congress. You under military occupation. Those that did not go into Oklahoma, he basically saying your ass is up under military authority and the Congress who makes the laws for this government.
Establishing this government, establishing this government, subject only to the United States military authority and the acts of Congress. That's an entity not from this land now telling me what to do. Yeah.
And keep in mind, this is a letter that a general is sending to his president. We don't know that our ancestors don't know that they're getting ready to set this play up, because this is not like a treaty where somebody from a representative from our people are going to sign it. This is just him writing a letter to Andrew Johnson. They've already killed Lincoln.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
Y'all with me?
Right.
All right. So by the laws of war, yep. All right. By the laws of war and orders of the President of the United States, the Negro is free and must be dealt with as such. Here again, you're using the word Negro, but then you're going back to say by the laws of war. Why? There's a Seminole War that never ended. So anything that our ancestors are being governed by that did not go into Oklahoma, we're being governed by what? The laws of war. What happens the next year in 1866? You get your Freedmen's Bureau Act, which was created from under the War Department. Does it all start to make sense, y'all?
Yep. Yep. Just further proof that we're on a military occupation. Again, these aren't just coming from Congress. These are coming from a specific department, and that department is the War Department.
That stands out a lot. The Negro is free.
It must be dealt with. How are you free, but you still have to, what does it say? Subject only to military authority. That's a contradiction in itself.
Well, remember, but he's writing this letter to his president.
It's always a contradiction.
He in his letter, he's saying we can't fuck with these people down here. These
can't enslave them.
Right.
These free.
Right.
Whatever they were seeing, for him to use the word free, I don't want to touch this no more.
All right. So he cannot be subjected to the conscription or forced military service, save by the written orders of the highest military authority of the department. So here again, they're free. He's saying they ain't gonna fight for us either. You can't co-opt them. You can't break them. They don't want no parts of whatever we got going on. It's on site. And I want to throw this in. When we see the violence based on our skin color, nobody ever talks about the fact that our ancestors were killing them on site. This general admits in this document that no white person whatsoever could come in our area. So we were killing them too. They only just show us when we get caught in their neighborhood, but we were hanging their ass too, which is why there's that strong disdain for our skin color. But they've edited us out through media to always show us docile. Truth be told, our great-grandparents were waxing their ass.
100%.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's what the media is so strong for that. The media controls images,
and the media
controls vision, controls what reality is.
Propaganda.
The war started to come to an end through the television.
It was
It's
propaganda.
It's not going on out here. It's not going on out here.
There's special field orders and these letters back to the commander-in-chief is all, that was like their initial version of the media, because you could control what these people were by reclassification.
Great point out. Great point out. Great point out. You have newspapers. What's in the headline? You know, that was the most important thing. This special field order probably made the newspaper. Special field order, whatever. However they're doing business right now. I like that, Chief Q.
And the same thing of what they're doing now with the news and so now social media, you know, basically just
100%.
giving people what to think. It's one thing to the next thing, that the media is telling people how to think, what to do with their bodies, you know, and things of that nature. So nothing has changed from back then either.
Can't be a free thinker.
Right.
No free thinkers. Yep.
Chief Quietwater, what's your thought on everything we read? You can kind of MIA tonight.
Yeah, I'm on board with what everyone else said.
It was free out here. And white boys was, hold on now, these Negroes is free. They not running away. These are real free.
So here's the bait and switch. Let's watch this. Here's another bait and switch. All right, so where we at? Under such regulations, all right, saved by the written orders of the highest military authority of the department. under such regulations as the president or Congress may prescribe. So those are the two entities that are going to be trying to get this Negro problem under control in the Creek Confederacy. Here we go. Domestic servants, blacksmiths, carpenters, and other mechanics will be free to select their own work and residence. Well, they were already doing that. So he's basically just telling his president, and these niggas got mechanics, carpenters, but they got their whole everything click clacking. But the young and able-bodied Negroes must be encouraged to enlist as soldiers in the service of the United States. This is where it starts, y'all. They couldn't break the adults, so they started going for the children. Y'all want to build on that? And it's going on to this day.
Yeah,
that's the same thing that happened with in the beginning of the like the beginning of our class. That's the same thing they did with the Americans. They would take the weakest people, they would take the warriors out the tribe and take the weakest people. And in these days and these times, the weakest people are the children because they don't know what's going on. Everything is still like oblivious.
How many times have they executed this plan before they got to America for them to roll it out as well? That's what I'm looking at. Because you just can't come and do this all on the fly.
I told you it's like an ancient playbook.
Has to be trials.
They got something.
Yeah, has to be. Yeah, has to be test subjects.
But I want to point back out what this general is saying. He went from these Negroes are free to where were we when Chief Alligator pointed out they were already doing this, but he's saying it as if now that we're going to manage them doing it. Well, we don't need your help. But let me see where we were.
Right here.
We'll be free to select our own work. Right. What do you mean we will be free to select our own work? We're already, So again, military operation. Yeah. Continue what you're doing. But now this other body is not going to manage all of these classes or all of these industries. But feel free to continue to do what you're doing.
Can you build on this part right here? It's almost like they couldn't beat us, so they wanted to join us, where it says, but the young and able-bodied Negroes must be encouraged to enlist as soldiers in the service of the United States. That's the same thing Lincoln said in his Emancipation Proclamation. He said, you got the freedom to labor faithfully for reasonable wages, and you can garrison forts and different things like that. So you see how it's almost like we can't beat them, so get them to join us some kind of way.
Facts. That was the real Civil War. It's just the Seminole War. That's what it was, the Seminole War.
Let's change it. We were trying to be civil. But again, it never ended. It never ending, meaning no treaty to saying truce. You're just lying and you overstayed your welcome and you forced yourself again. Take the children, convince them to fight with us. Now you got soldiers joining the United States Army. That grows into mama proud of her young. And then you see all the effects today. Yeah, it's crazy. That's a whole psychosis game. That's straight mental.
Now watch this, right? What you just said, Chief Blackcoat. This is the nail in the coffin, the next sentence. To contribute their share towards maintaining their own freedom and securing their rights as citizens of the United States. We ain't seen a document yet that said Negroes are citizens of the United States. Why is this general using that term? We haven't read that yet in the Constitution or any act that we read so far. Why is he saying, from a military standpoint, if you fight with us, you'll be a citizen? He lying.
And this preceded the amendments, right? This preceded the amendments, right?
Correct.
So this was, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, correct.
Or like what Chief Alligator said, yeah, you're lying. So again, how did they, get them? How did they bait them in? Yeah, you get your citizen. Like, yeah, we're gonna keep going to war. General Sherman, he's sent back somewhere. There's chaos going on. Special field order. Yeah, I mean, you do what we say. You can become a citizen. As a citizen of what? The folks that just came over here and killed all my people and destroyed my town. Like, yeah,
let's keep it even more simple. Can a general make law? Is a letter law?
Nope.
So why do our quote unquote leaders take this general's letter and try to make it like it's law?
Right. We haven't even got
to
the
can't make you a citizen.
Yeah.
He can't tell anything. He can't give you 40 acres in a mule
Facts.
and present it. That's why he's
Facts.
mad. Where's my 40 acres in the mule? Well, the president didn't say that.
Yeah, president ain't say shit about that. Like I said last week, hey, that customer service rep you spoke with gave you the wrong information, my boy. That ain't in our policy. Yeah. And that's all this is. He a customer service rep. He gonna tell you whatever the fuck he want to tell you to get you off his phone.
Right.
Same thing. Hey, look, man. Yeah. We're gonna give you that credit. Yeah, we're gonna give you that credit. We're gonna give you a refund and everything. All right, 5 to 10 business days.
That goes, no, you said, no, that's it.
5 to 10 business days. Click.
That's pretty much how it reads too.
Yeah.
Chief Delegator keep saying, who is this dude writing this special field or get, saying all these things? And yeah, the rep. Yeah, we just gonna say whatever the
right.
They can look good, sound good. We'll deal with it on the back end.
So now he's gonna go in and he's gonna talk about what he's gonna do with our youth. The next sentence says, Negroes so enlisted will be organized into companies, battalions, and regiments under the orders of the United States military authorities. Here's the key, and will be paid, fed, and clothed according to law.
Order masters.
Now here we go. Law comes from Congress. So going back to what Chief Biko said, as a salesperson for the military, he's going to recruit our youth to get them to fight. But lawfully, you ain't a citizen. So you finna go fight. And then when your ass come back and wonder why you ain't getting no goddamn GI benefits, you see the catch?
You didn't read the contract, terms of service. You didn't read the terms of service. You didn't read the terms of service. What are you doing? I just say, yeah.
I mean, if you're in the middle of war right now, times are hard. Again, just look at Ukraine. The economy is crashing. So these economies are crashing. How can I feel like I, worth something or can save my property or save my land? You will be paid, fed, and clothed. Go on and fight. Have some benefits.
And how many times have we heard in our history where your family has went to World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, Korean War? They never got any kind of benefits when they came out. Why? You weren't a citizen.
Not a citizen.
You keep participating in something and bumping your head against the wall, wondering, well, damn, why I'm getting ignored.
It say it right here, according to what law? You're not in their law. You were never written in it. So again, you're not a citizen. So again, you're under what? Military occupation, according to the law. And the law says you're not a citizen. So you're not gonna get no benefits. You just out there.
It's not funny, but we in 2022.
Yeah, so it's the same shit.
I'm just glad we're doing this because nobody's taking the time. This is what the Congressional Black Caucus and all our quote unquote leaders should be doing on a weekly basis, educating the group instead of putting us in front of fucking TVs and programming us. I'm gonna stop right there. Did somebody look up the definition of bounty for the next sentence? The bounties. Let's see what the legal definition of bounty is.
Let me see. Bounty is, hold on. Bounty, a gratuity or an unusual or additional benefit conferred upon or compensation paid to a class of persons, a premium given or offered to enlisted men to induce enlistment into public service.
Okay, so this is where we get catfishing from in our community today. Now we're getting ready to read how the military recruiters are going to bait and switch the youth of our group back in 1865. The bounties paid on enlistment may, with the consent of the recruiter, go to assist his family in settlement and procuring agriculture implements. What's the catch in that sentence? If the recruiter don't okay it, you ain't getting shit. Did you catch that, y'all?
That's the catch 20, yeah.
He can tell you anything in that office. Yeah, sign up. Yeah, we'll come get you next week. Yeah, yo. But your ass ain't gonna get paid unless that recruiter says, yeah, give him the check.
Give him consent.
And we already know it don't even really matter. It don't even really matter if the shit in writing.
It's starting to hit you now, Chief Black Coat. It's starting to hit.
And you see, when
Yeah,
you
the
when you
recruiter
sit
fucking, yeah. That's
when you
ugly.
sitting in that recruiting office and they telling you all these good things, yeah, you could pay off all this stuff. You don't have to worry about anything when you come out. You just do your 4 years, your term, and look, you'll have a job. Everybody's gonna holler a veteran, right? Everybody's gonna hire a veteran.
Yep. You
Same
seeing
bait
it?
and switch today.
I'll come back. My recruiter, hey, those incentives, those benefits you told me. Looking straight at me in the face, telling him to go fuck himself.
Hold on. You said that even applies to your experience. We're reading 1865, how they got fucked over. They were going to fight and they come back. They're like, damn, what my house
benefits?
at? Where
Right.
the town at? Y'all done burnt the town down.
Right. Right. But no, Chief Biko saying it, yeah. The bait and switch. How can I get you in here? You know, today somebody like to joke about dumb shit, talking about the Camaro or join the military, get a Camaro. So it's little things that they do as far as to get American soldiers to come in today. And yeah, when you go in, everything that recruiter said is total bullshit. Straight bullshit. He's just a recruit, literally.
Thank you.
Great
Brandon.
salesperson.
Thank you so you can see what the youth went through in 1865. They got catfish.
Catfish. That's the word. Like he said. Yep. That's what it is. Yep. That's not who I really am. That's not. I put that face on, but I'm catfished.
So the bounties paid on enlistment may, with the consent of the recruiter, go to assist his family in settlement in procuring agriculture implements, seed, tools, boats, clothing, and other articles necessary for their livelihood. That's if the recruiter says after you've done your time, yeah, pay the man. So we'll stop right there. We'll start on Article 3 next week, but we can clearly see we got a lot from this document in these first two sections. They couldn't beat us. For those that don't know, General Sherman also burnt down Atlanta. Okay, I don't know if the underground Atlanta is still open, but when you go to underground Atlanta, now you'll have a better understanding. That's your city. Atlanta is no different than Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, any other city they burnt our shit down. Lake Lanier, they either flooded our shit or they burnt it down and rebuilt. This is that same general that wrote this letter. It's the same one that burned Atlanta down.
Those were the world wars right there. The
Well,
world
it just
wars
tells me
were
where all the money was, where all the business was, where all the where all the flourishing Negro towns were, had to burn it down.
In the Confederacy, in the Muskogee Creek Confederacy. We had business booming.
We talk about Tulsa a lot, but you know, that's prominent history. But yeah, anywhere where there were flourishing Negroes that didn't run away when we came through and stayed down, yeah, they got to burn it to the ground.
Now, why is that? Now, when you say burn it to the ground, how does that rhyme with Russia and Ukraine right now, where Russia's getting pushback from the Ukraine citizens? So you notice that the last couple of days, if y'all been paying attention, Putin been killing innocent. He blowing up everything. He basically like, I'm gonna bring you to your knees in the middle of winter. I've shut the grid off, so you got no heat. I'm blowing up critical buildings in the infrastructure, and I'm finna bring the wrath of God to you. That's the same thing.
Bring them to their knees. Bring them to their knees, and also erase what you thought you were or who you were. You can never think again of what you had. You know, you're not a slave.
How does that erase what you were? Like when you destroy everything in war, why does that erase what you were?
I don't think necessarily who you were, but definitely what you did. Right. Because now over time, those stories start to fade. What building grandma used to own, if it's not there, you can't see it.
Correct. I was about to say that. That's it right there. All of our architecture, monuments, pyramids, everything. Cover it up and destroy it, or we repaint it like we saw in
rebranded
last year. We rebranded. Oh, this is the capital. No, that was our capital. Y'all just put y'all name on it.
Right. No, and that's the shit that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this was already the structure.
Mm-hmm.
We
did
can't
that.
see ourselves in it though, because we had
Correct.
the white man be that structured leader for however long right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Chief Quietwater about that the other day. That's what gentrification is. Literally just the same principle, and just like turning Bankhead to West Midtown and making it different names. Little 5 Points is Reynoldstown now. It's all just reclassification.
What is it? Little 5 Points is what now?
Oh,
like the area right before Little 5 is called Reynoldstown.
Okay. Just my mom was just talking about how the city was so livid and live when she first moved to Atlanta. Many things would happen in the city, you know, with our people, and then they just started to die off, like Freaknik and other things, because that's not how we want to live. And it's like, that's how we live, but no, that's not how we want to live. We got to notice those things, you know, sucking the soul out of our group. We are party dancing, you know, livelihood type people. Now everywhere you go, it's like Buckhead is now this, Little 5 Points is now this, downtown is now this, underground is now this. Like, damn, we ain't got, what do we have anymore? Nothing.
And like Chief Akibalan spoke earlier, they do it very incrementally, little by little, until, you know, they put things in place way before it's just all blown out. Okay, we here now, you know, and it's up to us to identify when they start those little things like redistricting and things like that. For us to come in, we just have to have more people collectively to make a change in things that we want to see, basically.
We don't have enough leaders, true leaders.
There's
too many puppets. Dr. Umar's supposed to build a school. Shout out Dr. Umar. My bad. Go ahead.
Shout out Dr. Umar. Send it to everybody, but it's like how to keep a nation Serbian, and the thing says that to keep them Serbian, you have to push them to like a breaking point, and as soon as you get to that breaking point, you don't take it all the way, because it's going to give like an instant reaction. People are actually going to rebel. As soon as you get to that breaking point, you back up. Then you do a little bit more next time, and that resistance eventually continues to like erode and become, you have less more. Okay, my bad, I'm thinking too fast, talking too fast. You have less resistance to the things that are being pushed on you because it happens repetitively, and eventually you just lose full control of the nation.
Great point. Great point.
Great point. Let's close this video out paying homage to Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor will always be special for us because we all met. Well, not all of us, but half of us met on behalf of Breonna Taylor. And this week, very quietly, without the media making the masses aware of it, they threw out the case against the officer that killed her. She never got a murder trial. The trial that got thrown out was the bullets that went into her naked body as she laid in the bed. Some of those bullets exited her body and went through sheetrock and went into other people's apartment. So he was charged with wanton endangerment. And just to show you that the military is, that the media is part of the military propaganda, if they didn't put it in front of Negroes' face, we're so one-track minded, we don't even realize they slid that right up under the radar. And I just want to say personally, you know, Breonna Taylor's case really exposed how broken we are as a group of people, because it was anonymous citizens dressed in Black that pulled up to even get Breonna Taylor a criminal investigation for the murder scene. And a lot of people flocked in after that happened. Black Lives Matter, Oprah Winfrey, and the family was able to be compensated, but there was never a court case for that young lady. And you also have Grandmaster Jay, who was the individual that galvanized prisoners of war, AKA Americans, to go to Louisville, Kentucky to get her justice. And to see that nobody's really going to talk about that and just act like that didn't happen, from my standpoint on the outside looking in at this group of people, it really makes you like, why stand and fight for them? Because you're gonna end up just like the Black Panthers in the 1960s. These niggas ain't loyal. I'll stop right there.
A special
Enough
group.
said. Yeah.
With a special group.
Anybody else want to share just what Breonna Taylor meant to y'all? How we, how we ended up meeting, and just, what's your thought on that?
Shout out to Breonna Taylor. Same old story. Another day, another dollar when it comes to this government and its injustice. People wake up or TikTok.
Yep. No, I feel the same. Like you said,
Yeah.
same story, different character. But yeah, it just shows how defeated as a group our people are. For it not to even be any news on the quote unquote Black media outlets.
Right.
Like what? Okay, we can understand the European media outlets, but not even on
Tariq, what happened?
Right.
Like what? Like it's just like, okay, yeah. Go on about your day. Same story, different day. So it just shows again the mind
Speak
state our
about it.
people in.
Did Roland Martin touch on this? Because I saw that come through the grapevine.
I think
It came up on my timeline.
maybe what, 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
But again, you know how they want to play. They want to play. We got to go through the system and do all this bullshit. That
Right.
ain't.
La Land.
That's, yeah. That ain't how that ain't
We
how it gets
want
done.
justice. When do you want it? Now.
Right.
Exactly. Again, we
That has
seeing
not worked.
we're
And
seeing
then
how.
just, oh, go ahead.
No, my bad. I was about to say we just seeing how actual human beings are supposed to behave in nature when things like this happen versus how our people are behaving. We're seeing Ukraine pick up guns when
Right.
wrong is done to them, our people. Let's get on our knees and pray and let's walk to the voting ballots.
It's a little different. Chief of Cuban kind of touched on it about pushing people to their breaking points and then backing off. That's just how this government operates with us. They get us way more than we probably get ourselves. But now that you're carrying people, you're pushed to that wall. This government won't push us to that wall. Why not? Reading their history, yeah, they knew down there in Florida, we can't infiltrate this. So let's not wake that person back up or wake those beings. They like this being. They like the YouTuber, headphones, gadget. Ukraine being, I'm not sure what kind of country it is, but for them people to say we staying home and gonna defend, there's some passion there. There's some knowledge of their history there. Our group just, Chief Q1 said it, push then pull back. So Breonna Taylor, pull back. Here's a holiday, whatever, or a coin, whatever, statue, whatever. Do it again. Pull back. Here's something. Don't be too mad at me. Here, same old game, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, you definitely nailed it, Chief Black Code. That's exactly what happens. And even like with the situation, like you said, when we came together in Louisville, that was a powerful time for us. And it just dwindled away with no kind of recharge, it was just like we were all hyped and we were ready for whatever, and then
the energy
shit
was
happens
there.
and then it just fades away. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because there is a glimpse of the energy that's there.
Exactly.
And I'm not speaking on ourselves or the anonymous, I'm speaking on the actual residents.
Right.
That came out.
Oh, right.
What's going on? It's in your blood. You just need somebody to activate it.
Exactly.
That's why you got rid of Malcolm. Malcolm looking at Martin like, dang, you just let people hit on you? That's cool. I can't teach that. Got too big, too powerful. Take them out. And we're going to keep seeing that cycle. We can't depend on one leader. Everybody has to become a leader of themselves. Seriously, you just have to. You're going to lose.
And just to add in another keynote, I don't know if y'all know this weekend, but Kamala Harris, who's Indian, her mom's from India, they were on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama. That was a famous bridge during the Civil Rights Movement. That's when a lot of people got their ass whooped by the police department. She and probably a couple of hundred people walked over that bridge this weekend. Again, you highlight when we get our ass whooped. You won't talk about these Seminole wars, though.
Yeah.
You see the mind control? You'll highlight us walking in a nonviolent movement, literally getting beat upside the head with billy clubs. They were sicking dogs on the people in Alabama, right? So you're down there and you're promoting that symbology, but y'all won't talk about the people that were ready to ride or that have been riding since these Seminole wars. You'll never talk about it. You always want to portray us in the media as weak, docile people.
Correct.
That's
not.
You know.
Yeah. And they do that for a reason, again, just to continue to, mentally condition us that we're that, mentally condition us that we are, weak, docile people will just bend over backwards when we know that's not the case. That's why we see these reoccurring theme movies of getting beat on, then here comes the white savior trope. We don't have any films where, except for, again, Django, which is probably, I know you say Chief Alligator, that's your favorite movie because the black man was the hero. But again, we don't have to go to a fictional character for that to be true, because we see him all the time. We're reading him every week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have motherfucking killers. But again, our people seem to not want to put those people in the limelight because of, how it will be portrayed, or we can't put this in a movie theater again because we don't own anything, things of that nature. So again, we got to get back to doing business with ourselves and go from there and putting our people out there in the front street.
Now, one more thing on management, because this is a litmus test for us. So they just threw out the Breonna Taylor case, and what they realize is we're so simple-minded that if they don't put it on TV, we won't follow it. Who's to say that they're not going to fuck Grandmaster Jay over next month when his court case comes? So the same officer that killed that lady.
You would have to throw it out, though.
No, they're not. Well, I don't want to put this energy on him, but what I'm saying is play devil's advocate. Say you are a European and you are a public servant in the state of Louisiana. I'm sorry, Louisville, Kentucky is the state. They just said, okay, we didn't want to even create a murder scene when this lady died.
Right.
Here this man, Grandmaster Jay, gets a couple of thousand people to come up here. Now we had to scramble and put together a murder scene, right? We were able to get Tim Scott, the district attorney, not to press charges. But damn, now we got this case where he's got wanton endangerment for bullets going into the sheetrock in the apartment.
Right.
How do we not convict him? Don't advertise it. Don't put it out there so that people can get behind it like Ahmaud Arbery.
And rally it. But you threw it out. He killed somebody. So why do you need, what is Grandmaster here for?
Because now, again, I'm not wishing.
The fact you're saying the fact that
they can fuck him over as long as they don't put it on TV.
Right.
In his case and just fuck him over as long as they don't put it on TV. We won't know. Damn, Grandmaster got 50 years. I'm just saying.
You just said that, but that put rounds and killed. So he's good.
He good.
So why do y'all need Grandmaster again? This should be over with. If
right.
Killing anybody. I mean, 1 + 1 is 2, and it always will be. So it's like, yeah, we could play these mind. What are we talking about? Grandmaster should just be. They should just go ahead and send him a text message. All right,
exactly.
bro. Just don't even worry about this no more, because it should be that simple. But we want to play this game and seek justice through the system. All right, keep seeking it.
So what you're saying is you don't understand why they won't let him go since they didn't.
Yeah, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
They're looking at it like, oh, we finna fuck over Grant.
For sure, but I'm just saying, like, how could if we? Of course, we're gonna allow it, but we're not allowing it. But of course, it's gonna happen. But what are we talking about? The guy that actually pulled trigger, bullets going through people's homes in the middle of the night or whatever time this was. If they're saying he did no wrong, the main character of this case, what's all these bystanders? We need these folks, though. I mean, they just was here for the party. The party over now. So if you
If,
fuck them over, it's just you're just showing, you know, them continuously putting that foot down, crushing the soul, just crushing your soul.
And that's what I think that's what he's alluding to. Like, I can definitely see it happening. I mean, shit,
Yeah,
we've
for
seen
sure.
it with even lesser things. I mean, shit, we just read American Inventor who they tried to get locked up for forgery.
Forgery.
So, you know, they play by their own rules. So it's like, at what point do we like say fuck the rules? There are none. I mean, you know,
Gotta be free. Gotta be free.
I'm gonna say it, man. I really believe that our people won't even know when his court case comes, because if they don't put it on TV, if they don't put it on social media,
It won't be.
they just proved that with Breonna Taylor. We didn't know, the masses of our people did not know that court case was going on this week. And so that shows you that the media, mainstream media, it's a tool for this government, because it's monkey see, monkey do now. How do I say that? They just did a test on all the citizens from March 2020 up until March 1st of this year. Now they know over 70% of the people will follow orders from TV because they went out and got the drug or the vaccine. And then on March 1st, all your leaders stood right up in that goddamn chamber with no mask on, hooting, hollering, yelling. Now the media devices saying the numbers are going down. People are now taking off the mask. So now the management class of this government sees we got them right where we want them. They're so dumbed down that we can just continually bombard them through media and go get them to take a drug that they don't know what the fuck is in it.
No, shout out to the people. It is a bunch of weirdos out there. I was hanging out with a homegirl. She was like, "You don't have TikTok?" I was like, "No, why do I need TikTok?" It was like, everybody has TikTok. Everything's on TikTok. And I'm in that moment, I'm watching, you know, something I didn't think was real. Like, you're totally in and locked in into this whole entire
to the metaverse,
murder, whatever world. Like, you can't, what are you talking? Why are you keep telling me to get TikTok? I just told you I don't want TikTok, but everybody has it. Okay.
Plugged in.
Distance myself.
Zombies.
She plugged in. Okay. She
Zombies dead. Bots.
She ain't detached that that shit on the back of her head. She plugged into the matrix, man.
Plug all the way.
Some
You'll
people
get
don't want to
TikTok
get out.
Eventually. You'll get it. I already told you I got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I can't do no more. How many more do I need?
Facts.